Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Progetto M40 Mod 65. It's the Italian Tier 10 medium tank, and it's located on the west spawn of Westfield, and it's under the command of Leethalstylesz of Philo. Now battle is counting down, and he's going to take his Progetto with the auto reloader and 4 shots in the magazine. And he's headed off to the south route to the enemy area. Now it's got a 65 kilometers per hour top speed forwards, 23 kilometers back. He's got 4 shots in the magazine, as I said, and the gun is a 105mm. Or rather the Canon 105/51 M68. He does 360 alpha damage and he's got good penetration, 268 hit points, or 268 millimeters with every shot, and he's almost reloaded. Yep, he's loaded now, ready for bear. And we've got our first target, AMX 1390. It's ahead. Leethalstylesz is using the bushes for cover. The target just came into view very briefly. We've got our own at 1390, but we're going to get proxy spotted very shortly. Okay, we've been proxy spotted. He's using the corner, trying to get shots on him, but that AMX 1390 is trying to get away. In fact, now he knows he's facing 3, he's not so happy. And our own Object 430 gets in the way. Doesn't want to expose himself too much from fire from the other enemies, but I'm not sure actually that there is an Object 140 there and a Scorpion G. So, oh, lovely shot there, Scorpion G, going for another. Yeah, takes him out of the game completely. Going for the Object 140, ricochets with his first round, pulls back, doesn't want to use that last round, because obviously, as you know, with the Progettos, you don't want to fire your last round, because that last round is the one that takes the longest to reload. The others reload much quicker. So if you keep 1 round in the magazine at all times, you will have a much higher DPM than if you blow them all. But sometimes you just have to blow them all because it's necessary. Now it looks like that AMX 1390 has managed to get into the valley and is headed for our Arty. Now hopefully the Primo will actually know what to do. Oh, just took 2 rounds there, 1 from the Centurion, 363 into the Object. Needs pulled back, and he's wiggling as he goes. That 1390 is very close to our Arty. If they don't do something, we're going to lose 2 tanks, and that's going to compromise the battle. And it looks like our 4502 is going to overlook. In fact, both our Arty have been spotted by the 1390, and he's got one of them. He's just taken out our M4043, and he's going after the GWE 100. Oh, this could be dreadful. We're going to lose our Arty support. And that's going to seriously compromise the game. Oh, the GWE managed to get the AMX 1390. So he managed to do what the other tanks didn't. Taking down that terribly quick and nimble and deadly AMX. Okay, he's got a different angle. He can go after the Centurion. Nice round in, finishes him off. 336, going for the Object. Can't get him because he's behind the ridgeline. Okay. Now, I wonder if he's going to try and bypass the normal route and get around the Object, come up behind him. Well, it looks like he's swapping to go to the other side of the valley. The Object 140 probably doesn't realise this as yet because he's still facing the Primo, which is directly opposite him, and the Primo's moving up on him, so his focus is going to be entirely on that, and he's not going to be looking in the opposite direction from somebody across the valley getting up behind him or getting side onto him. We can't see him yet. There he is. The Primo's spotting him by proximity. Now if he pulls behind that ridgeline, we'll get a shot into him. Leethalstylesz is getting up on top. Okay, now maybe in a position now. No, he still hasn't pulled back far enough. We're going to have to move up. The Primo's doing a good job of holding him there. Can we get a shot on him now? Not quite. Almost. There he is. Gets around into him there. 391, but he pulls back behind the ridgeline. But our AMX 1390 is going in for the kill. We missed that shot, but we're reloading. Get another round in. We're going to use the 4th round. Oh, we don't need to, because our team, the Primo, manages to get around into the object and finishes this game. Now the scores are still even, 9-all. But we have been spotted, so we're going to have to pull back. It was the Griller that spotted us. Yep, there he is. And we've requested fire on him. Trying to get into position. Unfortunately stuck down into that cover. And there's an Object 257. Back in the enemy cap area. We fire around in. 424. Can we get another one in? And we do. And we've reloaded enough rounds. We can get up 2 shots in. Oh, we bounced one. But he's not going to fire the last one, is he? I think he's going to try. No, he's waiting for the load to go in before he shoots that last one. He's got one in. Yep, gets a tracking shot. He's going to try and hold him there. He's still waiting for the load to go through. There's a Ferdinand down below. Looks like it's hiding behind that building. We've got to be conscious of that Griller. Still haven't seen the end of him. Well, we just lost the Primo. He was taken out by the enemy M40, M43. Okay, the object's been spotted at the back. The 257. We're moving up on that Griller as well at the same time. He was last seen in this vicinity. There he is. Oh, side on. We get a shot in. I think we can blow all the rounds just to get rid of that. Oh, and he pulls back below the ridgeline. We didn't get that last shot in. And that's enemy Arty, the GWE-100 on the enemy team. It was a near miss. A near miss did 93 hit points of damage. And of course stun. And Leethalstylesz is not using his repair kit, but he's trying to get out of the way of that Griller. He doesn't want a return shot. He's aiming as he retreats. He needs to get into cover. Okay, he's fully loaded. Now I think he needs to think about how he's going to deal with this swing. Oh, we just lost our Oho. So it's now down to just the GWE-100 and Leethalstylesz. And there's 5 enemies to deal with. 5, would you believe it? 2 Arty, 2 tank destroyers, and a heavy. Okay, the tank destroyers are the Ferdinand and the Grillers we've seen. The Artys are a GWE-100 and an M40, M43, and of course we felt the GWE-100 because he fired at us. And the heavy is that 257, the one we put quite a few rounds into and tracked. Now the 257 shouldn't be too much of a problem because we have actually taken some of his hit points away already. The GWE-100 has pulled up onto the ridgeline. Leethalstylesz is taking a position up here in that bush to try and spot the enemy if he comes over the top of the hill. Oh, there's the enemy. He's actually lower down. There's the Griller. Can we get around into him? Oh, he's just taken out our Arty. We put 1 into the Griller. 2. He's trying to retreat. And we finish off the Griller. So, he's only facing 4 enemies now. This is potential Kolobanov. Now, as you can see that Leethalstylesz is actually using the reward camouflage that he managed to get from Frontline. The Progetto 65, or rather the Mob 40 65, is actually quite a good tank killer. Of course, you have to play up the entire Italian line to get it. But it's a lot of fun. Oh, there's one of the enemy. It's the Ferdinand. Pulling round. Fires 1 round in. 2 rounds in. 3 rounds? Well, we don't know because we lost sight of him. So we're going for the auto load. Trying to get those 4 shells back into the chamber. As I said, better DPM if you leave that last round in the chamber. Unless you really have to fire it, you don't fire it because you want to make sure that you've got massive DPM. And the third time we caught him in the side. He's got a fire and he's out the game. 246 hit points. And it looks like we've picked up the high caliber. Okay, going for the reload. He's still got one in the chamber. Now he's got two in the chamber. He's keeping in cover. He doesn't want to expose himself to that 257. And the enemy Arty has got nothing to fire at because they don't know where he is. We can hear rounds going in, but of course they've got no clue as to where he is. Okay, he's fully loaded. 4 shots. Ready to go. Just need to see that 257. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but the Progetto actually uses APCR as standard ammo. See down here, it actually says 105mm armor-piercing composite rigid with damage of 360 and penetration 268, as we mentioned earlier. Now he's staying in third-person mode, quickly checking around, looking to see, is there anybody following me? There's the 257. Okay, now, has he been spotted? I don't think so. The worry is, if he's been spotted, then the enemy Arty might be after him. At the moment, that 257 is skirting the ridge line. And I think he's doing that because he doesn't want to get spotted by Leethalstylesz. Okay, he's creeping up on him. He's probably still just below that ridge line. And he's going to get one hell of a shot when Lethal comes up behind him. There he is. And he's been spotted. Oh, it's the enemy Arty! And he finishes the enemy Arty off. There's the 257. We can't see him. He's hidden. He's actually behind a building. Oh, he fired, but missed. Now, we're creeping up on him. We've got one more shell in the chamber. Going for the last one. There he is. Oh, tracking shot. Beautiful. Going for the rear. Maximum damage. We take a shot from the enemy Arty. Oh, we're going to have to move. We've blown all our rounds and unfortunately we didn't kill him off. But we're in cover of the building. That 257 now is going to find it difficult. He doesn't know which side to go. And we're in cover from the enemy Arty. Okay, made a decision. We're going to face this way just in case 257 comes round. Now we're facing the other. He's undecided which way to go. We've got 3 rounds in. Can we get the 4th in before we go? No. Okay, but we fire the tracking shot in. Going for the lower plate. Hits. 398. Oh, it's a low roll. He has to pull back. That means we've got to load again. 8 hit points it left him on. That was a low roll. That is so bad. We took a hit from the Arty. The hit was for 451 hit points. We're now 1 shot for that Arty. In fact, if he can get a shot near us, he'll splash us to death. Coming out for the shot. Wait, try and tease the 257. There's the enemy Arty. Oh, we lost the driver. That's going to make us slow. And of course, the enemy is reloading. But we've got 2 shells in the mag now. And the 257 makes a classic error. He pulls out in front and allows us to plant a shell in. If he'd side-scraped on that building, it would have been difficult for us to damage him and he would have got a shot into us. But we've now got that the magazine reloading. We've only got 194 hit points left. And we did manage to put our driver back in, but we're badly damaged. I know the mods are showing that both the driver and the loader are still stunned, but I think that's a mod error that Aslains has had for some time because I've seen it on some of my replays. Now we're going Arty hunting. Now we don't know precisely where the GWE100 is, but that's the Arty that was theorised would have been built from the chassis of an E100. And that's the 1 minute hooter. We've got 1 minute left on the game. He's got to kill him in 1 minute. I doubt that GWE100 would have gone very far because it's not a very fast Arty. It's very slow, just like its chassis donor. We can't cap. There's not enough time, so we have to kill. First we've got to find him. If he can see us before we see him, then he could get a shot into us. And remember, the GWE-100 only needs a splash to kill us. So we have to be very cautious. There he is! Oh, he's fired and he's missed! And we finish him off! And that's a Kolobanov! He won, despite the odds. He won! And Leethalstylesz takes the game, carries his team, and that's it. Okay, and here's the battle results. It's not an ace tanker, would you believe that? That game was not an ace tanker. He got a first-class tanker for that game. So the standard must be incredibly high to get an ace tanker in the Progetto M40 M-Mod 65. He did get a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle. He got a sharpshooter for hitting the enemy with 10 or more consecutive shots, a duelist badge for taking down 2 tanks that did damage to him during the battle, and a hand of God for actually surviving the battle or winning the battle, having received damage from 4 different enemy tanks during the battle. He finally picked up a Bruiser Medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He managed to get 11 in that battle. But here's the good ones. He managed to get a Pascucci's. He took down 2 of the enemy Arty. He took down the M40, M43 and the GWE-100. He got the medal that everyone would like to get, the Kolobanov, for standing alone against at least 5 enemy and winning the battle. And lastly, he picked up the high caliber for getting the most damage and a Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills. So after that round, with a win rate of 11,994, which is Super Unicum standard, what a round it was. And this was Leethalstylesz's first Kolobanov, his very first. And I know because I've had a Kolobanov myself on one of my accounts, and I know I was shaking at the end of the game because of the strain and the stress, and it was just so much. It's such a reward. It's so brilliant to get this medal. And there he is, right at the top of the table, 8,024 hit points of damage. He monstered that game. The next nearest highest score on his own team was 2,207, so nearly 4 times that damage score. But the highest damage on the enemy team was the Grilla 15. He did 5,848 hit points of damage. So congratulations to him for doing so well in the Grilla 15. But unfortunately, you came up against a better player on the day. When it came to kills, Leethalstylesz was still top with 7. He was just 1 short of getting the Radleys, and that would have really topped it off if he'd managed to get that. But getting the Kolobanov was good enough. The highest score on the enemy team was the 4 on the Grilla 15, and that's why he got that high damage roll. And when it came to base XP, 1,285 isn't enough for an ace tanker, but it must have been very, very close for an ace tanker, and it means that there must be a lot of players using the Progetto 65, which is why the standard is so high. The highest score in the enemy team was 598, and that went to the 50TP Prototipo on the enemy team. So let's have a look at the detail report, see how well he did. 35 shots fired, 32 direct hits, 24 penetrations. He did damage of 8,024 hit points, of which 3,704 were at more than 300 meters. So that's a great deal that was done at very long range and very accurate shooting at that. He received 4 hits during the battle, all were penetrations. That's the problem with Progettos. They have very, very weak armor. It's one of the reasons why they will need to use their auto reloader to fire their rounds and get away as quickly as they can before the enemy can respond. He received 4 hits from splash damage, 4 shots from the enemy Arty got near him and damaged him, and as we saw, the GWE-100 at the last moment tried to shotgun him but couldn't get him in the end. That allowed Leethalstylesz to take the game. He spotted 4 enemy vehicles, some of those were the Arty. He did damage to 8 of the enemy, that's more than half the enemy team, and he killed 7 of the enemy. So just for the want of that one last kill, he would have ended up with the Radley Walters, but he still had an excellent game. He did damage assistance of 337 hit points during that battle. On a premium account, he earned 97,748 credits, and after repair, ammunition resupply and consumables, he still had 16,135 credits left over. He received 18 bonds during that battle because he was playing a tier 10 game. He receives extra, and of course he did exceptionally well to get at least 4 epic medals. Of course, the Pascuccis, the Kolobanov, the High Caliber and the Top Gun. And when it came to base XP, or XP rather I should say, he received 1,927, and that's all the experience points that he took away because this was not the first game of the day. But I think you'll agree with me that this was an absolutely epic game in the true sense of the word, because he carried the team for his team after that GWE 100 was taken out, and did an excellent job of taking down some very dangerous enemies, especially that Object 257, who was very, very difficult to kill. But he did make a classic error of leading with his front rather than side scraping, and that allowed Lethal to take him out the game. So excellent battle there. I really enjoyed this replay, and I'm so pleased that Leethalstylesz decided to send this replay to me after putting it up on the Salty Jedi What Record site, so I can get to commentate on it first, and it really was a humdinger of a game. So thank you so much for sending in this replay. If you enjoyed this replay, please give it a like and do subscribe to our channel, and hopefully it'll be your replay that I'll be featuring in the next video.